Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Welcome to my first Sketchbook Sunday series video. And basically Sunday mornings I like to sit down with my cup of coffee and just paint for about an hour or so, or sketch my sketchbook, listening to an audiobook. It's a great way just to kind of enjoy some free time on the weekend before the rest of my family is up. So I found these lollipops on clearance at Sam's Club the other day, and I thought they were really cool looking, and I grabbed one out of the box before my kids gave them to their friends, so I would have one that I could sketch. And I just thought it was really interesting, the twist shape of the lollipop. And I also love the bright rainbow colors, and I also loved that it was glossy and shiny. So I got that basic shape in there, and I erased the lines I didn't need and just kind of brushed off the crumbs with a soft watercolor brush. And I usually just kind of will brush off the paintbrush like that to get it clean before I actually use it for paint again. So I'm starting off with some watercolors, and I am just base coating in the colors I see. So I have made a nice vibrant orange here with some vermilion and some, I think this is quinacridone gold that I used. And now I'm using some crimson to put in that red stripe. So I find that by kind of adding in these kind of the mass tones that I see first, it just kind of helps me kind of get an idea of the colors I'm going to have in there, and then I can go in and add the deeper shadows later. It's a really fun process, and I think you should, whatever you feel inspired to paint, even if it's something that's a little strange, you should go ahead and paint it. I don't worry about rules or what I should or shouldn't be painting when I'm working on my Sketchbook Sunday projects, and I will mix and match different qualities of paints and different medias too if I think it's the best way to represent what I'm trying to paint. I'm using a combination of artist grade watercolors by Core and Da Vinci and Turner, and I'm also using some inexpensive Primo watercolor confections because they're fun to use, and I just like the way they look. Also, because I'm in a sketchbook, I do not have to be overly concerned with a paint being light fast or not, or any other supply I'm going to add being light fast or not, because it's going to be closed in a book. Now, I know some of you might think, well, I don't want to spend all kinds of time on something that's going to be closed in a book. What if I create something that's beautiful and then I used paints that weren't that great, and then I have to keep it in the sketchbook? Well, think of it this way. You are completely free to create in your sketchbook, and if you do create that masterpiece, then you can always have prints made. You could photograph it, scan it. There's nothing keeping you from doing other things with that sketch once you've made it. And I think that the joy of creating freely and a sketchbook with no worry about the final outcome is worth chance that you might make a masterpiece and have painted it with supplies that you're not in love with. I think any chance that you can take just to play and have fun without worry, without fear, is only going to grow and improve your art, so your next painting is more likely to be a masterpiece too. Remember that this is your artwork and you can take artistic license. Like, I changed the white stick on the lollipop to a wooden stick, and I really like the way that turned out. It gives it kind of a vintage candy vibe that I absolutely love. And even though I had virtually any color I could want to use, I still managed to mix up my grays and also mix the colors of the lollipop so I got just the right one. Even though I might have had a pink, I still would alter it just so I got the pink that I wanted to. So keep that in mind, even if you are using a lot of convenient colors. In this layer of the painting, I am glazing on shadows, so you saw me do the dark orange, and now I took a little bit of purple and the yellow to make my darker color for the yellow. I'm putting on the red, a little more full strength, and just putting in those darker reflections and shadows on the lollipop. Because this is a really shiny, glossy object, your shadows are going to be more crisp and hard, and your highlights are going to be crisp and hard. So by painting them like that, you're going to get that shine that you want in this piece to make it look realistic. Watching this footage back, I realized that I paint a lot differently in my sketchbook than I do when I'm filming a tutorial. For one thing, I take my time a lot more. I sit back, I sip my coffee, I'll look at the progress on a picture, and I don't really think about how long it's taking me. So just for that reason alone, I want to do more sketchbook work, because it's nice just to paint for your own enjoyment. Even if nobody else would find what you are choosing to paint remotely interesting, the fact that you're excited about it is all the reason you need to create some artwork, to paint what you love, paint what you're passionate about. People ask me all the time, Lindsay, what should I start off? I want to learn to draw. What should I start off by drawing? I want to learn how to paint. What should I paint? You should paint what you are passionate about, because that's what's going to keep your interest, and that's what's going to make you stick with it. So if painting pictures of chameleons is what you're interested in, do that. Don't worry about all the scales and all the detail. Paint what you love. If you want to paint landscapes, paint landscapes. If you want to paint the detail in a blueberry, paint the detail in a blueberry. You got to do you, right? You got to do what inspires you and makes you feel passionate about your art, because that's what's going to help you grow, and that's what's going to keep you excited about it. After determining that I had all the watercolor paint I wanted and softening the bright white stripes between the colors, I decided to grab my gel pen and put in those really bright glossy highlights. Remember, it's my sketchbook. I can paint it the way I want to. Of course, if I was doing this on a big sheet of watercolor paper that was really fine and nice, I'd probably want to use masking fluid or reserve those whites, and it wouldn't have been nearly as much to create. And I just love the reward of those glossy, shiny highlights on the candy. It just really makes it come to life. Now, to deepen some of the colors, I decided to grab some Prismacolor colored pencils, because I just really enjoy using them, and it does help you get that beautiful, deep, glossy color that the Lollipop has. I like to use a white colored pencil for those kind of cast reflections. They're kind of like a cast highlight. They're not as bright as the really shiny highlights that we did with the gel pen. It's a nice bridging color to put in there. And you can also overlap colors on the white to almost make the colors glow. The thing I really love about this technique is that you don't have to have really expensive colored pencils to do this. Any colored pencils over any watercolor will give you a very similar result, even if it's your kids' art supplies. So there's really no excuse. You don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on the latest and greatest and newest and best. You can use what you have. You can use what your kids have. You can use what you can pick up at the department store for very little money and still get a very rewarding experience. Now, I do say my favorite colored pencils are probably the Prismacolors, because I love how rich and creamy they are, and I love how they're opaque on dark color, and I can go over watercolor with them and get a waxy translucent look, which really helps me do things like flowers and candy and fruit, things like that I like to paint. I like brightly colored smooth objects, I guess. I don't know. I never really thought about it before, but I guess I do. I love these neon colors too, and I'm not sure if Prismacolor still makes neon colors in their color pencils, but it really does help those bright candy like bands of color glow. I'm coming in with that white pencil again, and instead of coloring really lightly like I did before, I am burnishing the colors, so I'm coloring really firmly, and that is mixing with the pigment, the waxy pigment underneath, and giving it another boost of brightness. And again, it just helps give it that glossy, realistic, bright candy shine that I'm going for. Now at this point, I think I have all the colors I'm going to use pretty much in my hand or on the table, and I just keep switching back and forth between the colors and layering and blending to get exactly the color I want. Now, to be honest, I could have stopped a few steps ago, but I was just enjoying the process so much that I wanted to keep pushing this picture to see how good I could get it. I've recently rediscovered my love of colored pencils, and what helped me discover that love was actually putting them in containers right next to my desk, so they're always out. So I can easily grab my Prismacolor color pencils or my Spectrum Aqua watercolor pencils and use them whenever I feel the urge, because they're literally right to the right of my table. So if you're finding that you love using a supply, but for whatever reason it never comes out to play, grab some jars, grab a box, grab something that you can put them in so that it is right at hand. It might be in a basket next to your living room sofa, where you might just grab your sketchbook and sit and color for a bit while you're watching TV. Make it easy. I am reading The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin right now, and she was talking about Americans' favorite pastime being television watching, even though there are other activities that they would get more out of and report getting more out of when they do. And she found out that people are going to do whatever is easiest to do. So if you make creating in your sketchbook frequently easy to do, as easy as it is to pick up your phone or turn on the TV, you'll do it. So do yourself a favor and make it it easy to create your art, and don't beat yourself up if you're not making art yet. Just find a system that you can put in place that'll make it easy for you to grab that sketchbook and create a little bit every day. You'll feel so good when you flip back through that sketchbook and you see all the things that you have made. I'll have a new drawing class out too if you want to check that out, if you feel like you need a little more guidance with your drawing process. And you can follow me on YouTube or my blog, and I will have more information on that coming up in a few days. But you really owe it to yourself to make some time to be creative every day. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.